It is now 6 p.m. and time for the council meeting to start. It's now time for the council meeting to start. I would like to call the June 10th, 2026 City Council regular meeting to order. Would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Carey. Chilson.
Present.
Hutchings. Here. Nelson.
He has an excused absence.
Parker.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Wackler.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda and consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve the agenda and consent agenda? Mr. Carey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move the approval of the agenda and the consent agenda as it appears before us.
May I have a second, please? Thank you, Ms. Hutchings. Are there any changes to the agenda or consent agenda? Will the clerk please read the consent agenda?
May 27, 2026 City Council meeting minutes. Ordinance 2026-015, increasing estimated revenues and appropriations by $4,770,011.01 in the Soldotna Regional Sports Complex Fund and $4,770,011.01 in the Debt Service Fund for payoff of the Fieldhouse Bond Anticipation Note, sponsored by the City Manager. Public hearing on June 24th. Ordinance 2026-016, amending the operating budget for fiscal year 2027 by adoption of the Mid-Biennium update to the fiscal year 2026 and 2027 biennial operating budget, sponsored by the City Manager. Public hearing on June 24th. Ordinance 2026-017, amending the Soldotna Municipal Code, Chapter 1610, to streamline subdivision review by authorizing the administrative officer to review smaller subdivisions and update platting procedures and requirements, sponsored by the City Manager. Public hearing on June 24th, 2026. Ordinance 2026-018, amending Soldotna Municipal Code, Title 17, zoning to perform general housekeeping updates, clarify fraction rounding procedures, remove repetitive setback text, repeal access intervals, and simplify borough tax compliance verification, sponsored by the City Manager. Public hearing on June 24th. Resolution 2026-022, authorizing a facility management agreement of the rodeo grounds between the City of Soldotna and the Soldotna Equestrian Association, sponsored by the City Manager. Action Memorandum 2026-013, request for an excused absence from the June 10, 2026 regular City Council meeting, sponsored by Mr. Nelson. That is your consent agenda.
Thank you. Are there any public comments on any of the items just read by the clerk?
You sit and make
sure
that green light is shining.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Push the button.
Oh, okay, now it's really on.
Now we're
Okay. My name is Katie Jones, or Kathleen Jones. I live at 33095 Skyline Drive, Soldotna, Alaska 99669. And I would like to talk about funding for public pool access. Swimming is something I hold near and dear to my heart. I swam for 12 years, played water polo in college, taught swim lessons, and I was a lifeguard at many pools and beaches. The importance of pools here locally are that we are a community that is surrounded by water. We have lakes, the inlet, rivers, and swimming is a necessary survival skill. It is not possible to give swim lessons without access to a pool. And I have two small children personally, 2 years old and 4 months old, who as of right now could not rescue themselves. them or any child drowning is one of my worst fears, which has been instilled since I was young. Unfortunately, I had an uncle I never had the opportunity to meet. And I would like, if possible, to just make our community safer and have public pool access in order to teach swim lessons to children. And also, it's a great just recreational activity in general. So yeah, funding for public pool access is what I would like to discuss.
Here.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Mr. Chilson?
I just want to say thank you for coming out, and just to you and anyone else here that might be present to speak to pools. As you might be aware, there's the Kenai Peninsula Community Pools Group, which was established and working on this, and they gave a presentation to us. We had a work session on it recently, and they have made a formal ask of our council to fund, I believe, up to $30,000 for that. I can't speak for the council, but it seems like there's interest among the council in potentially funding that value. However, it's not something we're making a decision on tonight. I believe at an upcoming budget meeting, we will likely be considering a non-departmental funding line item for that.
Okay, well, if there's any other time I can show up to support that, let me know and I'll be here.
Yep, that would be on an upcoming agenda.
Cool.
Thank you.
My excuse, or do I?
Anyone else from the council? Vice Mayor Parker?
Thank you, Ms. Jones, for coming. And if you didn't want to come to the council meeting, you could also just send us an email showing support for the city supporting keeping the pools alive.
Oh, sorry, you want me to do that in addition to showing up, or you're saying in the future?
If you couldn't make it to the meeting,
Oh, okay.
send an email.
Okay, thank you for letting me know.
Anyone else from the council have a question? Nope. Thank you very much for your
Thank
comment.
you for your time.
Anyone else wishing to speak on? Please state your name and address for the record.
Sure. My name is Margie Harper. My address is 40427 Iliamna Loop in Soldotna. And I swim with the group that does exercise over at Skyview, the aquarobics. And I wanted to make the point that it's not just about learning and kids learning and being safe. It's also about the whole community having access to what is a very fine exercise program that's much safer and is used by therapy people too. Some of us who are 83 aren't able to do aerobics on hard surfaces, and we use the swimming for that purpose. And rehab is very good through swimming also. I just wanted to bring that up, that it's widely used and could be much more widely used by the community. Thank you.
Anyone from council have any questions? And which pool are you referring to?
I swim at Skyview, and right now we're temporarily at Kenai,
Okay.
which is a much smaller pool and much more crowded.
Yeah, the pool that we're discussing here would be the Sohai pool only.
Right, and that's where I would have to swim if Skyview isn't available.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Anyone else in the audience wishing to speak on anything that wasn't on the, or that was on the consent agenda?
Heather Rinke, 35020 Riga Road, Soldotna. I'm also speaking on behalf of just advocating and thanking the city of Soldotna for pledging that 30,000 potentially of support for Sohai pools. I have two daughters, 10 and 12. They both learned to swim through. It was lessons at Skyview because Sohai has not been open in the summer, but now one of them is active on the swim team. It has been just an incredible program. I don't know if you've ever been to one of the local swim meets, but there are hundreds of families that come from Seward, to Homer that participate in those weekend activities, and it's a great draw for the community. Additionally, I'm employed by Central Peninsula Hospital. I'm an emergency department nurse, and I have been involved in a cold water drowning event of a 6-year-old child who lost his life because he didn't know how to swim. Not saying that that would have saved him, but I have been on the other side of it, and we don't need that. And so anything that you're willing to give, it's not just, there's the swimming lesson side, there's the therapy side, there's so many different sides of it, but it's a community resource, and we need to keep that community resource open, because once it is shut down, once I know that pool is drained for the summer, but once the pool is closed. We do have earthquakes in Alaska. As soon as an earthquake hits that pool, it will become more expensive to open and maintain. And so I guess as a parent, a member of the community, anything that we can do to keep the pool open, it gets utilized. I mean, just like the Soldotna Field House, you can't even hardly book an event there anymore. And I think what Will proposed, and you saw that if SoHi does get an active pool manager who's willing to put on lessons and create more revenue, there is missed opportunity that Kenai is taking advantage of. And even with therapy at Skyview, I think it's just an asset that we need to have remain in the community for the fact that we are a community surrounded by fast-moving cold water, and we need to learn and teach our children how to swim. And then we also need to provide those services. I swim in addition to my daughters doing that, I swim at the open swims as just a drop in and pay. And when COVID happened and they had more open swim hours, we would go family nights, Friday nights, and there would be 40, 50 kids in there playing, Marco Polo and other games. So just want to advocate for it. Thank you.
Any questions or comments? Vice Mayor Parker?
Thank you. I'm sorry, ma'am, I did not catch your name.
Heather Rinke.
Thank you, Heather.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who have spoken, I would also urge you to reach out either to your assembly member or the borough mayor, because they are the ones right now, the borough mayor and the school district are the ones who will be entering into a lease agreement with the swim organizations, and that needs to move forward.
I know by June 30th, yes.
So we are supportive of
Mhm.
the organizations, but they need to get
They're active.
the school district and the borough to get that agreement to them.
Okay. I have done that already, but I will
Thank you.
redo that again. So thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak on anything that was read by consent agenda? State your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Kevin Kiefer. I live at 33095 Baylor Street and Soldotna. And I'm a lifelong swimmer. I started as a little kid, and high school and college I played water polo. And I have been swimming at the Skyview pool, and they have excellent lifeguards there. You've got really great trained people. I was able to take my grandson for 6 weeks of swim lessons there. And let's go to the pool, but they don't let little kids like him in the pool. So I'd love to change some of the rules around grandparents bringing grandchildren to pools. But we should keep them open. You've got the pool, you've got the resource. Whatever it costs for lifeguards and stuff like that, you charge $5 a swimmer. That's got to add up. I mean, last time I was there must have been 35, 40 people in the pool doing laps over here, and over here they were floating around and kicking all the young ladies in the pool, doing aquasize and those kinds of things. I just think it's a necessary building block of a good society and a good town to have a public pool that's available. It shouldn't be 25 miles or 30 miles away in Nikiski. If I want to go swimming, I got to drive all the way out there. And this other way, I live in College Heights, and Skyview's this far away. So I would love to have it open. Is it any questions? I hope we're all in
Ms.
agreement.
Wackler?
Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you all for coming out to support this community resource. I know we're kind of sound like we're repeating ourselves, but I agree with you. As a resource, I think we should, in my opinion, help support keeping this open in a responsible way. Right now, the path forward that we're seeing that would make the most sense is supporting a separate nonprofit to operate that. There is a nonprofit that's come forth that would like to do the things that you're discussing and manage that pool in a way that would be best for our community, for therapy, but we currently have a resource that is not owned by the city of Soldotna. It operates in the city of Soldotna, but it is owned by the borough and is operated by the Kenai Peninsula Borough School District. The Kenai Peninsula Borough School District does not have the funding to operate it, so that's why that's the piece that we're missing. All of you need to reach out to that nonprofit.
So is there another meeting we need to attend?
Well, potentially what we're talking about here is us supporting that nonprofit and contributing to their efforts. These are all potentials because we've got budget stuff coming up. We do love hearing this. This is in support of us supporting. I guess that's much like we help support things like the Soldotna Senior Center. That is its own nonprofit. We support those efforts, but we do not functionally manage that, if that makes sense. I just wanted you to understand exactly what's
Right.
going on there. I don't believe the city of Soldotna is in a position to be able to operate a pool, but we do have potentially, we could be supporting those efforts. And I think it's been mentioned before, reach out to that nonprofit, reach out to your other local leaders, because the next step that needs to take place in that is an MOA with the school district to operate. And the borough building to be the one, because they're still gonna own that asset. They need a memorandum of agreement or memorandum of understanding to be able to enter into that. So now the speed with which that can happen, there's a lot of entities involved.
Right.
So that's where, speaking to us, wonderful. We'd
Sure.
love to hear your
I
support.
think I speak for all 5 of the speakers. We just want to know what the next step is.
The next step is
Like,
the
we talked
Kenai
to you,
Peninsula-
we all agree this needs to happen. Now, do we meet with the borough mayor and impress him? There's got to be like. a
Yes, I don't
process.
want to tell you, for this is not our position or for me to be telling you what to do.
Right.
But for the potential of this nonprofit to operate, the next step is an MOA with the school district and the Kenai Peninsula Borough.
Okay.
And so those are those local leaders to talk to again.
No problem.
That is the next step. And,
Okay.
and I do see that's the next challenge that they have to. Now, us supporting that endeavor with monies, that is certainly something that I love hearing about the community wanting or potentially wanting us to agree to support that endeavor. So I'm not saying, please come, please talk. Now, our next meeting is the one that we'll be talking about that our upcoming fiscal year 2027 budget. You can still come in support of us supporting that organization, the next
Okay.
budget. Does that make
Good.
sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay, but to support this organization and the operation of the school pool, you still need to support and speak with your local leaders at the Kenai Peninsula Borough School District
School
and the
district.
borough.
Okay.
Does that
Thank
make
you very
sense to
much.
everybody?
It's a complicated,
Everything is.
yeah, it's between.
Thank you.
You have to start
It's
somewhere.
between the private swim group and the Kenai Peninsula Borough and School District. They have to reach a memorandum of agreement on operational of it. Then they can come to us and request some funding.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Vice Mayor Parker.
And as I said earlier, it doesn't hurt to call the mayor's office, the borough mayor's office, and say, hey, what's the status of the agreement with the Kenai Pool Association that wants to take over the Sohai Pool? And the more he hears, maybe then they'll move it along a little quicker. Because we don't want to see it drained.
Anyone else here in the audience wishing to speak on? Please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Carrie Hollier, address. Hello, yeah,
Yep.
sorry. My name is Carrie Hollier. My address is 287 Stacy Drive. I'm in support of, keeping the Sohai pool open. I just moved here with my family of 5. I actually grew up here, went to Sohai, graduated in 99, and now I've come back here to finish raising my kids. My oldest daughter, she's going to be a junior in high school, and we moved from Oahu, where she was a very avid swimmer on the swim team, and it was her life. And for teenagers, it's so important, especially I grew up here. I know how hard it is to be a teenager here in Soldotna. I think having swimming as an outlet for teenagers here is so important, and to keep that going be really great. I was devastated to hear about the pool closing. Unfortunately, we'd already bought our house, so we went ahead and moved here, but we wouldn't have moved here if I knew this was happening. I do have a question. What is the nonprofit that you're referring to?
I'm sorry.
Then you were talking about a nonprofit.
Yes, it's the Kenai Peninsula
Community pools.
Community Pools.
Kenai Peninsula, okay,
Um,
okay. Okay, okay, great.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
My what? Yeah, for sure.
It's-
Okay.
It's called Kenai Peninsula Community Pools.
Okay. All right, thank you.
And the
Okay.
gentleman who's organizing it is Will Lee.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Okay. thank
reach
you.
out to Will.
anyone else here in the audience wishing to speak on anything that was brought up on the consent agenda? And then I'll do what I forgot to do earlier, to ask the clerk if any member of the public have requested to participate remotely in accordance with the public comment and testimony policy.
No, sir.
Thank you. Having no one else wishing to speak, the approval of the agenda consent agenda is back before the council. Are there any council objections to approving the agenda and consent agenda? Seeing and hearing none, the agenda and consent agenda are approved by unanimous consent. Next item is Assembly and Legislative Reports. Ask the clerk if any representative are requested to participate remotely in accordance with the public comment and testimony policy. Moving on to the next agenda item. Public hearings. This will be a quick one. We have none tonight. Moving on to the next one.
We don't have, there's none signed up. Nobody signed up. This-
No.
Oh, no, like, oh, this one, here, this one's you're talking about.
Oh, wow. That's the one you said we weren't doing.
No, the one we're not doing is the one where they sign up in advance. This is, I believe Sarah wants to speak to this.
Public comments and presentations. Are there any members from the public who would like to speak on any item not? That's what we just did. Not appearing on the agenda. Yep. And are any members of the public have requested to participate remotely?
No, sir.
Go ahead,
Okay,
please state
hi,
your name and
thank-
address.
My name is Sarah Erickson. I live at 37868 Grayling Road, down Mackey Lake Road. I'm here as a business owner. Alaskans is my business, and we've moved. I sent you all kind of an email briefing you. I didn't send the chief of police, sorry. But on kind of my dilemma. So I moved into a seafood processing plant, which is also going through their growing pains. But it is going to be much better for Alaskans to grow faster and make more and be able to provide more to the nation. Alaskans, pet trees were growing. And so, so the owner of that whole complex, Chuck Kim, or I think his name is, anyway, he told us that we could put a sign on the Fine Time building so people could see our sign. And for Alaskans especially, we get a lot of tourists in the summer to come in. It's been a big draw where we've been right on the bridge. And so it was a big, scary move for me to have to move kind of behind there, tucked behind the old Sourdough Sal's building. But it was, I knew that I was going to have that place for the sign, which is a beautiful blank canvas space. Well, then when I was coming to get my little sign permit, I was told, oh, no, that's an off-premise site. You can't have a sign there because it's not on the building. And so you have to request the city council to sponsor some sort of sign code hearing or anyway, what I was just wondering if you could do a variance or some waiver to that law that will allow us to have Alaskans and Kenai Fish, which is the seafood processor, on that building. Because there's no other place for a sign. I mean, we can't have it in that front because that's part of that little cluster sign for all those buildings in there. There's just not a spot except for that perfect spot. So I don't know what to do. If you guys can do anything for me, I sure hope you can, or help me figure out something that I can do to draw traffic that way. Moving there, that was the whole idea. And now I'm told I can't do that. So I don't know if anyone has any ideas or something that we can change or waiver. Give me a waiver just on this one thing or.
Ms. Wackler?
So my question is to the city manager, is there a application process for this to go through planning and zoning, or is this a total random thing that we're unprepared for.
Correct. And there isn't code language that allows this. And so the thought was maybe a variance through planning and zoning on signs, the sign itself, but there isn't a mechanism to allow the sign, so then they can't do a variance on something that's not allowed. So we're kind of, stuck there as well. I'm not familiar with a waiver process to law. I would have to talk to an attorney. I've never seen that before, because law is law. So I'm not quite sure about that.
And my question is, since the whole thing is owned by the same guy, and he's like, yes, it's my building, put the sign on that building. And then he's told, no, you can't put that sign in the building. He asked me, well, can't I put any sign I want to on the building? And I'm like, apparently not. If it says Alaskans, then you can't do it. He's like, what if I want to have something else on there? No, you can't do it. So it didn't really make sense to him. He's like, it's my building. Why can't I have any sign that I want on there? Which I kind of have the same question.
Well,
Mr. Joseph.
I'll just kind of expand on that. I'd say I did get your email along with all the other council members about this issue, and I do appreciate writing us. I mean, I believe we all want to support our small business community
Yeah.
and help you be successful. I believe the thought process behind that is, I wasn't involved when this was created, but I know our Planning and Zoning Commission and collaboration with our planning department put a lot of time and effort into crafting a sign code to try to address how do we support signs in the city? Because obviously you don't want it to be the Wild West with no regulations. I mean, you need to have some kind of structure as how signs are used in the city, but you need to find that balance. And I think you might have found an edge case where
Right.
maybe that might be a little bit too restrictive. And I believe the restriction that you're running into is one specific to off-premises signs, where you basically don't want people throwing up signs for businesses all over town that might not be legal.
Sure.
So like, to our city manager's point, there's really no avenue right now to create an exception without actually altering the city code. So that would require an actual ordinance, I believe, to be sponsored by a city council member to amend the code to create some avenue to do this. I don't know if any other council members have explored this or not. I would potentially be open to. I don't think we want to just completely rip the Band-Aid, say off-premises signs are permitted everywhere in the city with no.
No,
but I think there's
just
a
be
balance to found.
specific, I don't know. I just feel like when we give ourselves laws, sometimes we get ourselves so
If let me
tightly.
finish.
Yeah.
Basically, where I was going with this is I think there might be opportunity for us to potentially amend code to allow some reasonable use of off-premises signs in certain situations, such as, okay, this is an off-premise sign for a business that is not already on a highway or main collector street, but within a certain proximity of the other business that's hosting the sign for. So I think there's some avenue there to potentially find a balance. And I've been in discussion with the city manager, and it sounds like our city planner is looking into that as well. We might potentially be having a code amendment brought forward to potentially address this exact need. I don't have a timeline on that, but it is.
Yeah, I know. I just don't want to miss the season, which I realize is probably going to happen. And our revenue is just like tanking right now. So I'm kind of in a panic. And I don't know what to do in the process. I mean, usually right now, this is it. I mean, this is when we make money. And I'm like, there's not anybody that even knows that Alaskans has moved. And again, I moved because I knew I could have that sign on there. So, I mean, that's not the only reason, but it was a big reason for me to move. And I didn't realize that a business owner who owns the buildings really has no say in what goes on their buildings.
Go ahead.
Just one thing, very temporary, I'm just going to throw
Yeah.
that at you, that there are several businesses that I'm aware of that actually put out every morning.
A sandwich board,
Yeah.
right.
I know that's temporary, not a great solution, but for
Yeah.
right this moment in time.
No,
might-
I do have one down the street, but I'm going to have to get another one up front, a bigger one. Is there a limit on how big?
I can't tell you, but I believe that there is, so that's something we would
Okay.
work with you on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vice Mayor Parker.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
And so along the highway, there are the blue signs that the state DOT lets businesses put up
Oh,
that with the arrows pointing
Oh.
to the direction of
the
where to
business.
turn. And
Yeah.
It's got the name, it's got Kenai B&B. and
Yeah.
Points the direction. Have you talked to the
No.
folks at DOT about
No, I didn't
putting
even, yeah.
it's tourist oriented design display? And anyway, talk to, call the representative's office to see about
Okay.
how you would go about getting one of those signs that
Okay.
would indicate along the Sterling Highway would point the direction towards your building.
Okay, so that'll happen next year, but still, that's good to know. I didn't know. Yeah.
I think it's something that wouldn't happen necessarily next year, but could happen sooner.
Okay.
But
Well, I'll
that's
get
why I
on
would
that.
Reach out to either your state senator or your state representative.
Okay. I'll do that.
Anything else from the council?
Thanks, you
Thank-
guys. Appreciate
you.
your time and thinking about it. So I'll wait to hear from some brilliant ideas.
Anyone else wishing to speak on any item not appearing on the agenda? And we have no one that signed up. Yes. Okay. Next item on the agenda is, let's see, Resolution 2026-015, amending the City of Soldotna mini grant policy introduced by Councilmember Chilson. May I have a motion to adopt? Mr. Chilson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd move to adopt Resolution 2026-015.
May I have a second, please? Thank you, Ms. Hutchings. Report from Councilmember Chilson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll open by saying I apologize for taking creating the one non-consent item tonight and keeping us around a little bit longer this evening with the beautiful sun out there. This particular resolution is the result of a decent amount of collaboration with our clerk's department. Basically, as you are all aware, we've had our mini grant program for some time now, and I believe it has been a very good success in our community, as evident by the amount of people that we have increasingly coming to us with new applications for it. I believe the current framework we have for reviewing those applications and awarding them has outgrown, the demand has outgrown that framework. And I think it's time that we consider how we're reviewing those applications and, wanting to consider that. We had some really good conversations with the clerk's department, figured out if there's a more efficient way to do this. And there's a number of improvements that we are able to come up with through that discussion. And this amended policy that I'm proposing before you is that product. So summarizing a number of the changes that are recommended in this. One is a simplified scoring process. So the scoring form that the reviewing body uses has been simplified to a nice clean one-pager, making that a little bit easier. And then as far as the criteria that we use when scoring, that's been changed a little bit to where there's now additionally a new category for supporting those in need. I believe the justification for this being is that we all want to see projects that support improvements to the quality of life throughout our city. But I believe that we've also seen a number of projects like those that support those in Project Homeless Connect, the Peninsula Period Network, things that make a much more profound impact and the immediate needs of people in our community. I think those should be weighted higher. So the rubric does recognize that now. Additionally, the rubric also deprioritizes awardees that have recently received grants through the program. And the reason that we've set it that way is so that we still have the flexibility to allow people who are recently awarded to apply. So in the off chance we have cycles where there are very few applicants, we still can award them if we need to. But if there are a lot of applicants, including those that have been awarded recently, they get deprioritized. So it gives the council a lot of flexibility in that situation. Additionally, recommending the creation of a review committee to assess these rather than having it all done on the floor of the council during a regular council meeting, because that's turning into a substantial amount of time. And similar to how we structure our P&Z with a rotating basis of council members, it would be my recommendation that we have a rotating cycle of 2 council members on this each year. And that way we all get the opportunity to be part of this. And then subject to interest, of course, the mayor would always have a standing seat on the committee. And lastly, just refining the policy guidelines to kind of support the original intent of the program, just some cleanup there. I'd be happy to answer any questions on this.
We will now move on to any members of the public who are wishing to speak on this item. Any members of the public here in the audience wishing to speak on Resolution 2026-015? Do we have any members of the public have requested to participate remotely in accordance with the public comment and testimony policy? Having no one wishing to speak, the item is back before the council. Are there any council comments? Mr. Chilson.
I just want to add an additional comment, just one of gratitude to our clerk's department, both of which put a lot of time into this with me, and I am deeply appreciative of that. And I think the quality of the product shows the time that was put in with it. So thank you.
Any further council comments? Any objections from the council to approving resolution 2026-015? Seeing and hearing none, resolution 2026-015 is adopted by unanimous consent. And my next question would be, got any volunteers to be on the committee? Thank you, Mr. Chilson. Anyone else?
It's
Wackley.
it's a rotating basis, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, well, you're the first rotation. Moving on. Where are we at here now with mayors and council reports? Mayor's report and proclamations. I have one proclamation I'll read real quickly. Whereas Alzheimer's disease, the most common form of dementia, is a progressive and degenerative brain disorder that causes memory loss and affects self-care, decision-making, and behavior. And whereas there are 8,400 Alaskans now living with Alzheimer's disease, and current projections indicate this rate will increase to 12,000 individuals by 2026. And whereas there are currently 25,000 unpaid caregivers providing 21 million hours of support to their loved ones with Alzheimer's disease each year, valued at $929 million annually. And whereas dementia is the leading cause of death in Alaska, and whereas with early detection and diagnosis, individuals and families can gain access to medications and support services which promote quality of life, fully participate in planning for the future, and enroll in critical research trials. And whereas the city of Soldotna recognizes the efforts of the Alzheimer's Association to promote awareness of Alzheimer's disease and other dementias and provide care and support to all those affected, thereby improving the quality of life for individuals living with dementia and their caregivers. And whereas June is Alzheimer and Brain Awareness Month, and whereas it is important to recognize the stories, strengths, and efforts of the individuals, families, friends, and caregivers impacted by dementia, as well as the tireless work of the researchers who are seeking a cause and cure. Now therefore, I, Mayor Paul Whitney, do hereby proclaim June 2026 to be in our city of Soldotna Alzheimer and Brain Awareness Month. Last week, and Vice Mayor Parker and myself had the opportunity to attend the AML Board of Directors meeting and a work session on strategic planning. It was a very informative, well put together presentation, and everyone involved. We had people from elected officials from all over the state of Alaska in attendance. A lot was learned, a lot was done. Probably the only unhappy thing about the whole meeting was it was inside a building with nothing but windows on one wall, and it was absolutely beautiful and sunny outside, and there was a duck pond with ducks quacking, and we had to listen to that and wishing we were outside. Other thing I have on here, budget reminder, any budget amendments that the council members would like to have for the session next meeting on June 24th, please contact the city administration to prepare the necessary paperwork or any adjustments and have that all ready to go beforehand. And my last thing is, are we going to have a better lane striping and bike path notifications and paintings on the street than we did last year?
I'm going to be optimistic and say yes. That is actually done by DOT, so we wait on their services for that.
Do they also do the bike paths?
Yes, they do.
Okay, because it hasn't been done in a couple of years. That's all I have. We'll move on to council reports on boards and commissions, and I see none there. City manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll keep it brief. Thank you for the reference to budget amendments. Just a reminder procedurally regarding the amendment for the pools, that it is not included in your current budget document. And we will have an amendment crafted in case, you choose to do it, and that there is the agreement, the memorandum of understanding or memorandum of agreement, whichever form it comes in, with the borough and the school district. But we will have an amendment crafted and available to you. We have that one on our radar, but if there's anything else, please let us know. And thank you, and let's get outside and enjoy that nice weather.
Any questions for the city manager? Seeing and hearing none, next item is public comments. Are there any members of the public who would like to speak on any item? Do we have any members of the public that have requested to participate remotely in accordance with public comment and testimony policy?
No.
Thank you. Next item, council comments. The first one will start with Vice Mayor Parker.
Thank you, Mayor Whitney. Just briefly following up on your comments about the meeting of Alaska Municipal League. One of the things that was pointed out during the meeting was through the Alaska Remote Sales Tax Commission that is under Alaska Municipal League. They now have over 5,000 vendors where they are collecting sales tax, where people are buying from vendors outside of Alaska and collecting. And in the report from the city manager and the finance director, so far in FY '25, the city of Soldotna has seen an 8.4% increase in our remote sales tax collection, and we received $686,810 year since July through March. So the fact that the state now has 5,000 plus vendors they're collecting from is amazing. And the benefits that Municipal League provides to communities around the state, including Soldotna, besides the work that they do with the legislature, they provide insurance and grant writing, financial assistance. So there is a strong benefit for communities to be members of Alaska Municipal League, as City of Soldotna has found over the years. And I hope that our Mr. Lee's pool organization is very successful in getting an agreement signed with the borough and the school district to keep the Sohi pool open so they don't have to drain it come June 30. Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Carey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate all the individuals who came forward and spoke to us, and the pool issue is critical to all of us. Thank you.
Mr. Chilson.
No comments tonight.
Ms. Hutchings.
No comment.
Ms. Wackler.
I will try to be as brief as possible. I know everyone wants to get outside. But I did have a report to give on the Soldotna Chamber Board meeting, just very briefly. They elected a new executive member, Lonnie Pascal, or moved him to an executive member unanimously. They reviewed a strategic planning meeting that they just had where they talked about a lot of stuff that they're, refining moving forward. As we all know, today is Wednesday. We've got music in the park, so that spent a lot of time. They were about to ramp up for their first one at our last meeting. Very excited about one of the changes that they're making is that they are starting pull tabs at the Wednesday market within the beer garden. But one of the big features I want to talk about is over 18,000 scholarships that were awarded this year. And I think that's an amazing thing that the Soldotna Chamber does for our community members. I kind of want to do it really fast. They're also, there is an uptick in their membership right now. I'm not sure exactly what's breeding that. Maybe all the visitors coming and seeing changes. But also they're looking for more volunteer opportunities and some more ways to integrate other nonprofits into their fundraising as well. But all in all, it was a very comprehensive meeting, and I have high hopes for the new director. I think Sarah's doing a great job, so appreciated them welcoming me as the new ex officio member at their last meeting, and I will end with that so that we can get out in the sun.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is executive session, and we have nope, we didn't have any comments. We have no need for an executive session. Next item, meeting announcements. The June 18th, 2026 Airport Commission meeting has been canceled. And June 24th, 2026 City Council meeting at 6 p.m. And having nothing further on our agenda, we are adjourned.